I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes you can get a bit, almost feel like you're a little bit crazy sometimes with all of the shifts that we are going through. We know for ourselves we are on a very interesting exploration. So it's not smooth sailing, to say the least. And we feel a little bit like we're in a pajama, you know, like we have that type of vibe right now. We feel like we're in the midst of processing a lot of deep stuff that about worthiness for the body, to pursuing joy, to pursuing what lights it up. Like it's really fundamental, but we've had that completely backwards, you know. And this is what the dualistic perspective is. It has you chasing your own tail. That's really what it is, the dualistic perspective. And most beings are still operating there. Unless you've started to create and you have made you're enjoying your life to the fullest, you know? That's what it's about. And we're here to open up for the pathways so that more creativity can flow through these channels. And so one of the things that we've been diving into is the relationship with people and opening up to love again, which we have. And we are constantly being guided by Gaia through people. Sometimes there are specific individuals, like right now, it's like one particular individual that we've noticed that her soul has sort of presented. This is so weird. This is what we see sometimes. Her soul showed us. So this is like Gaia's communication for future version of her. It's sort of like we're working with a future version of her that she may or may not be connected to. We don't know. Sometimes, you know, but we know that that's our expansion, you know, and so we are being called to step further and further into just openness. And how do you know that? It's like you have to pay attention to the body. It's not a mind thing. It has nothing to do with the mind. You purely have to go by the body. What is opening to the body? What is closing to the body? Like it's really simple. After you've been with certain people, do you feel like, ugh, like you just have to have a shower? Well, that's a good, clear sign that none of that, please. So it's like you gotta constantly work on the balance, because you don't want to get caught in something either, you know, because that overly focused on the outside can sometimes lead to imbalance. So it's important to stay centered here and to look at, okay, where are we at now in relation to this? Because we've done so much changes, and so we feel like we've been through like lots of like being a 14-year-old and experiencing a lot of feelings in the body that it doesn't know what to do with. You know, it's like we felt those things, and then now we're like, we're sort of like we're sort of observing the body coming, because we are walking its path. So when the body feels like, we just allow it. And when the body feels like doing that, just do it. And then we feel the repercussions after. And then it's like, okay, that was maybe a little immature. You know? Not like, oh, we're bad, we're not good enough. But there are these lingering things there too. It's also interlinked. So we have had to really go through some old stuff in relation to other beings, in relation to opening the heart. That's when, you know, when you dare to step in to open up your heart and to be vulnerable. Like when you dare to do that, you always get rewarded. But it's not always so easy. Sometimes it's just not so easy. Because there are a lot of other energies and, you know, being in a quite a chaotic, I mean, it's not completely zen everywhere, at least not here. Maybe certain places, yes. And so, even though we have expanded and we have pulled back from that just to see, okay, now after the 13 was over yesterday, we closed everything and we were back into, okay, we're doing our stuff. And then today comes, and then we are noticing that the body has a different story, you see? And that's, as a soul, that's why you're here, to look after the body, to make sure that you're walking your body's path. So if your body gets enlivened by someone or something that produces joy and excitement through the body, that is a good sign. Follow that. More of that, please. You know, it's really that simple. And we've been, God, you know, we've been shifting. We've been in this just healing and coming to terms with reality for like 6 years. And then the last 2-3 years, we have just shifted based on higher intelligence and Jesus' assistance continuously. And this is the thing also. Like, we know that there are so many beings in the dualistic perspective that think that they can steal this. You can't steal this upgrade. You know, you have to earn it. You have to earn these upgrades. Like, you can't... This is the thing. Like, it doesn't matter. Because the consciousness will either stop you from fully comprehending this, because in order for you to receive, you have to be walking a certain path, or you will not see us correctly. It's as simple as that. Because we are speaking from multiple levels of consciousness, but we know so much that people are projecting so much onto us. It's ridiculous. And we get it, because we've developed a really good, that type of persona that is but we're starting to open up, you know, with people, and it feels good. We can see how much we are of benefit to people. Like, there was one neighbor here that we just asked a question. We prodded a little bit. Are you really okay with that? And she burst into crying. Because we could see it, feel it. And then we poked a little bit, and then it's gone. Just that is an exorcism. When we get to point out something to someone, which our energy just does that automatically now. When we are in balance, right? This is why this is such a new experience. To actually feel that the body is enlivened by something out there. Because we haven't experienced that before. And then it was very easy to sort of flip back into this dualistic frame of behavior. And so we did that for a couple of days as well. Oh, you know, it's really a balance to stay centered in this way. And there's a lot of let's just say that there's safety mechanisms that, okay, we've been there before, we know that that's not the path. It's those types of things, you know. Sometimes you just have to experience, oh, we actually did that. We went that far with the body back into old shoes. Okay, now we have to inject more of this. So, but then we're noticing that the body is learning new things now. The body is learning things about love that it didn't knew it was like this. Because there are so many these relational things, like there are a lot of traps, there are energies that is sort of set up to deviate, well, really the man and the woman, or whatever sexes is involved here, you know, from actually truly connecting. And when the actual remedy we do need is to connect with one another, but not just to connect for the sake of it. We're all connected and we're all, you know, we're all one, let's say, like using that as a alluring thought, you know, so that the body should just subjugate to an idea. No, the body is very sophisticated piece of machinery. It knows what it wants and what it doesn't want. But it's only you that can have trained your way out of it. We've been training ourselves sort of out of our intuition for, I don't know, half part of our life in the dualistic perspective. And this is what we're now reversing, consciously aware, because we are now connected and they're guiding, so that we actually take our body with us. It's not always a dance on roses, you know, to really walk this path. It's not all these, sometimes you have to go through the stuff of the body, especially if you have been far down in frequency, which we have. You sort of have to go through lots of layers to recognize that you deserve love, that we deserve love, you know. We were so used to just being mistreated that it's easy to harden, you know, that the body gets hard. And so when our body is starting to get enlivened by anything, that's Gaia speaking through our body, through this body. And that's what we're following now. Before, we didn't allow ourselves to follow excitement. It was too scary or whatever. It was so many. Norway, where this body grew up, it was so much constricted, very constricted in the way of behavior. Everyone was correcting each other. It's very interesting to be a good person, you know. Wow. There's a lot of, we have a lot of cleaning up to do in our psychology. Humanity to fully shift, and this is everyone's responsibility. Yes, this 100 monkey principle does, so once enough beings on the planet vibrate and know this, then everyone just knows it. But we're not there yet. We are introducing this now. It's fresh. Most beings don't even think that this is possible, what we're doing. They think that it's a myth. They think it's like Superman flying. And we get it from a certain level of consciousness. It can seem like that because you don't comprehend completely how things work together. But once you do, life becomes not always easy, you know, like we are going through so many shifts with this body to adjust to this upgrade that we are being presented with in pure frequency by Gaia through a being, to open up our voice again. It's very interesting. We have sort of forgotten a little bit about that. You see how Gaia comes and nudges us back in line. We know you want this, my love. This is what happens when you start to get in sync with Gaia and you know what Gaia is in this game is about, and you do your part. Like now, we are cleaning up to the best of our ability all the things that are coming up from the past. All of these, you know, it's a continuous. It's like seeing the alarm go off on the cockpit. Oh, it needs more oil. It's just the same thing with the body. You just have to gauge the signals and then give the remedy. You just have to know what the remedy is. And once you get a hang of this, it's quite simple. But in the beginning, this is very new. So if you are in any situation that you want to course correct, book a personal session and we will guide you back into harmony. Because sometimes we just don't see. This time we didn't see, or we did see, but you still can get into it before you get the lesson to then come out of it again. This is how we learn. We do have to go in there again and then come back up again. You see? That's what we do. We go in and out of consciousness. That's why we sometimes, when we meet certain people, we can seem like we are on where they're at. It's just the way it functions. And we can read. And then beings may or may not think that what we're doing is accurate. But that's what it is to have an expanded field and when you know how things work. And all of these shifts, they are recorded. All of these shifts are recorded every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, because our body's in pain or it's going through things, and then we work through it multiple times a day. And that is the only thing that we have seen in conjunction with what the guides and teachers are showing us about reality. It's been the only thing that actually works. Because there's a lot of techniques. Oh yeah, you just meditate, or you do EMDR, or you do this, or you do cross your legs, and you do this and that. You know, unless you truly do what the body is asking for and you read it properly, you're not healing. That's the thing. You're not healing unless you're walking your body's path. Then you're just like, things are coming up again, and then you have to go to your therapist and have some, inner child healing or whatever the therapy modality is, or a little meditation or a cleaning, that particular meditation, because it cleans my energy chakras. But unless you're actually getting to know your body and knowing what your body wants, not what you want, what your body wants. Your body has sort of a mind of its own, and the mind is in feelings. That's how you decipher that. But for that, you can't use the mind. You have to use your feelings in relation to what's happening to make sense of how things are put together, truly. Because all of us, we have been screwed with. Our psychology has been screwed with. Guaranteed, just being here. You can't get away from that. But you can learn to filter through and to gauge with the body, because when you have clarified the mind and the body, that connection, you stop seeking out there so much. And then you are growing your own consciousness instead. And then you're using expansion and upliftment for the body, and regardless of what it is, you pay attention to that signal, and that's an expansion that you feel in the body. And once you do that, once you follow that expansion, that's when you follow Gaia. Sometimes it can be a bit nervous because she's asking to, there's nerves in the stomach, but she's asking me to go and over there where there's lots of people that we don't know and maybe say something to someone. You know, it's stuff like that. We've never even dared to do stuff like that, truly, without being completely destroyed on the inside with nerves and all sorts of stuff. And this is what we're healing now. We're healing all of these things from the body. We're going through everything. And it's like we're now grown up. We have passed this 14-year-old stage of opening the heart, and we are allowing for more of the voice to come through. That's what we're working on. That's where we're at right now. Because depending on how safe your body feels is how open you usually feel. At least that's been our thing. But it's a muscle to open, to keep opening all of the channels and allowing for your energy to come through, regardless of how it affects people. You know, at least it's coming through. That's the most important thing. And then you can course correct. But do course correct. Do feel deeply to the body so that you don't just override the body like a narcissist. That's what narcissists do. Many beings are actually narcissistic. It's just not called that. But it's whenever you are dominating the body, that's narcissism. You know, it doesn't matter. Because it's the action and the energy through the body that matters. Do you have care for your body? Do you really care what feelings are coming up? And to make sense of things and to allow for the body to show you what it wants. Allow for the body to show you what it wants. And sometimes it just needs healing, feeling the feelings, feeling the pain, crying the tears, you know? And then see that, there is another way of doing this. And then there is another level. And everything has these levels. All you have to do is choose one level you want to improve. And we hope that you've done that in the first day one or pre of the 28th day. Because we hope you can see that if you are taking that and you're actually taking action every day towards it, that's important, right? That you will start to see that these personal things start to come up and they start to reveal things to you. Sometimes to people, sometimes to your own feelings, sometimes a combination. You have to be a good reader. You see? Reader of what's going on. And if you want to shift with us, there are more links below or in the bio that you can find more information about that. We also want to mention that these Heya Live, we are starting to do them every Thursday. And so if you want to join them, this is where we actually start to shift. You can come with the things that you would like to shift. And then we are doing it together. We are creating a group field where we are assisting with harmonizing all of these things in the body, so that we can, all of us, start to make shifts on a very global and detailed level. So if you're interested in that, there's a link, and go to the WhatsApp group that's called Hey Alive Events. All right, take care. We'll see you again in the next one. Ciao.